I'm right here. I'm in the game. You don't need to send me a link.
What's up, guys? We're here for the grand finals of Ascension number 1. Yes, we are doing this right after Group A of Ascension number 2, and yes, it is still on the pre-release patch because that's just how the scheduling worked out. We were actually just discussing maybe we should do this tournament once a month instead of every week, or maybe it could be every second week or something. But I was mostly basing it off of interest and what people thought. Definitely agree with Mesk, though, and with some of the other people. It's quite a time commitment.
Well, I think it's also like this is going to get like everybody who's really interested into it, so they kind of understand the process. And then if there's another period of time between this and the next set, it gives them some time on to what to practice. Like this will give everybody a direction of what it is they really want to practice.
Yep. There's that. There's also the idea that you could imagine we might have 4 groups instead of 2 if it's more time that you can set up or whatever.
Yep. So this is going to be the finals. I was not here for the Nablime versus Shambler because that was at 5 a.m. my time, and I have insomnia, so anytime I am actually able to sleep, it's going to be, I'm taking it. So I actually woke up at like 6 or something like that, and then it was already over. So this will be kind of interesting to me because we got now the 2 older members of our community versus, maybe some setups who might have some bias against this here. I think it could go either way given their current performance and experience levels. Although I haven't seen Shambler too much since the new version. So
yes. Well, this is still on the old version.
Shown a penchant for cheese.
Yes. And remember, as a reminder, guys, old version, diadems hit air units, madrigals still cost only 4 transport space when deployed, Cyprians still penetrate 2 armor targets, so etc., etc., etc. We're all the way back here. We're going to see what's up.
Yeah, so in this matchup, explicitly for Zerg, they only have the 1 unit at tier 1 that's really going to help them out against Cyprians, which is going to be the Zoryusalith, because of its 3 armor, and we've, again, when we've casted that Alexander versus Benno, you can see how much it turned the tide to switch those units. So I remember seeing Shambler talking about this, that it kind of like forced Zerg into a really specific tech path. we are a far cry from the days where NAF openers were the standard, but we now see like the quarry opener. So again, both players like their cheese. I think that the Gorgakor cheese against Terran is less likely to have. I say that, and he is building his Orcas first thing, so you never know. Shambler has been liking the Gorgakor opening and the Skith opening, so it's very possible he's going to stick that, even though he is against Terran. Also worth noting, he was the one who I coin flipped, and we got Mystery Meat as the higher seed, and the Shambler as the lower one, which meant that Mystery Meat banned 2 maps, and the Shambler banned 1 map and picked 1 map, and he picked to start on Boskevine. So he must have, so he has
theoretically
a plan for this map very explicitly.
That's what I'm thinking. There must be some reason for it. Hey, stopping the gas harvesting. That's a little cheeky. Cheeky meat.
Absolutely dirty. Not sure that really wants his balls.
He's going after him.
He really wants his balls.
Oh,
Maybe he's making sure it's not coming back. So it's actually going to be Lakizalisk first.
Now, he has done this before. This is the last game he played was a Lakizalisk drop, where he gets the Lakizalisk, and then he goes for an Ovalith. He really wants to make sure...
That is what he's doing.
Yeah, he really wants to
That's why he really wants to kill this worker. He does not want Mystery to know that is what he's doing. Oh, if he pins him at the corner... I think... Did he, like, grab the minerals to decollide out?
Maybe. He could have done that.
That was unbelievably cheeky. I think Mystery knows that whatever comes out of these eggs is going to decide his fate. And there's the Ovalith.
The Ovalith is revealed. He does see it. Yep, it's going to go ahead and slurp it up.
Has to charge forward, but you see, boop, immediately cancels whatever he was building inside of his base.
Watchdog, he's going to get another anchor instead, There is a borrowed worker in the top left. I'm expecting that's just going to be used to scout and see what's up.
He's going to scout and see the double anchor. It's not the absolute end of the world for this drop that he's building 2 anchors. It's just going to make his job difficult, because I think the anchor can land on the Lakizalisk and unburrow it, if I'm not mistaken.
It could, if it lands in a territory that can be built upon, and I'm not sure that anybody's ever tried to do that to Shambler before, but the Lakizalisk is either way in the field.
I have seen it before. I don't know if it was against Shambler or not. But... Immortal Marines here. Boxer is watching.
Okay. Well, the Cyprian pops out.
Not going to go super greedy for this. Just going to go straight for a safe. But this is, I believe, a place where it can be dropped on.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've seen this done before. Just slurp some raid up. No fucks given. It's not going to be able to accomplish too much with this, but if he can prevent the fast expansion, prevent from moving out, and give him some map control back. If he can sneak it behind the mineral line, he could do a lot of damage because then it won't be easy to unburrow it.
Yeah, this is a little bit awkward because there's nothing here to defend it, and I think maybe Mystery's getting a little flustered here.
Oh.
He's just kind of awkwardly got his one anchor lifted up, and now the Lechizilisk will indeed fall. But it does get a decent amount of economic damage. It's just that it put him behind a little bit. He's still got no expansion, and at this point they're on even workers.
So Lechizilisk is out. First thing he builds after that, Kerfluffle, along with his expansion. Was a little bit of damage, not a huge amount. The Terran is still ahead in workers. Some of his military units were killed, but he is still pretty comfortable. It certainly could have been a lot worse. And also the feet are flying.
Well, this has been something that has been attempted by Mystery Meat before in his match against Biddy B. So that's quite interesting.
Two Zerutholiths and a Lechizilisk. I'm not sure how effective this is really going to be.
Yeah, it's a little interesting. I mean, the feet only have 2 Cyprians in them anyway, so there is going to be a Kagran colony being mutated in the top right. I don't think that the Ovileth spotted the anchor.
No, I don't think so either. It was going in kind of the same direction, but I think because of the paths they went and the Ovileth moving a little bit later, it just missed it. It's going to go try to go into the back of the middle. I don't know if he can even land there because of the creep, to be honest. I'm not sure there's anywhere he can land.
Not within true range, but below the ridge is the best spot for it.
All the units have moved out, though, so it's possible he can get a couple kills here. Shambler immediately moved out. Oh, Shambler over-panicked, actually.
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely the case. He's pulled all of his workers a little bit too fast. He's going to rescout the bottom middle and spot the treasury being erected there. Meanwhile, the Zoriustalets will be able to use this for their own advantage and force the anchor to flee. And the workers can start to return back home. He's rolling up pretty heavily right now. He's only got 2 Lechizilisks in the production queue. So definitely interested in continuing to produce that kind of thing. The quarry's scouted out again.
Squad heading forward. He really wants to put up this aggression, I think, because he knows that.
Well, look, he's got an anchor already constructed to the left of the Shambler's expansion, and there is no Spraith here, nor is there a Kagran in general to spread all of that around.
What a stupid game already.
Perfect. It's exactly
Helping Shambler increase his brood spawn count. Very nice of him. Charge forward. This goes in the red, it's pretty much over, but he killed 1 brood spawn for his effort. Very cheeky here.
Yeah, he's going to let it go, and this means that it will, just barely evade being put into the red. This Ovileth doesn't spot anything just yet in the top left, but it's so very close. So, Gorgakor has been created, and it will be tasked onto the flying anchor just to get rid of that, and there is finally a Hydrock Den being put together, so...
Extra Kagran, probably for a Larvosk, I imagine, switching more or less to standard stuff. Treasury is already up for Mystery Meat and already harvesting. No gas on it currently. Both players keeping the resources quite low. It's certainly a very different kind of game than those that we were just watching, that's for sure.
Yes.
A lot more scrappier, kind of what we expected, really.
Shambler does stand to lose something here, but he should spot this on the mini-map, and his forces should be easy to recall. But the longer it takes him to do that, he doesn't have them on a control group. He's got to manually grab them, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. There is still a Lechizilisk there to start weighing in on the anchor, but there's another one we'll borrow. That's actually a pretty good deterrence in general. It's just a question of whether or not it's enough here. The Masons were not even tasked on.
Being careful about his Gorgakor. He doesn't want it getting splashed, so he very carefully moved it around, which is probably going to save him a lot here. He can get out of there without taking too much damage. Kills everything. He really didn't lose too much for that, just a Kagran.
Some mining time.
Maybe like 1 worker and some mining time, so fended that off pretty handily too. Both players trying to outwit each other in the cheese department, and neither actually landing. That's more unusual than anything, really. Usually someone folds to it.
And quite interesting that it ends up being in this situation, right? Because now we're looking at a situation where anchors are up for defensive purposes, Starpad going down for Mystery Meat back at home, and the Hydrock den's been completed, so we should be able to see different kinds of units out relatively soon. It's just going to be another macro cycle, it looks like, before then. And meanwhile, the Zorka's army is starting to make some headway over here.
Yeah, I'm not sure Shambler really has enough units at the moment, but he certainly can get a lot of Mason kills on these Lakizlas. Just focus firing on those. So many Masons died to that, and they flee in the direction of the Gorgakar, so they'll happily start hugging them in return. And a little bit of a vision kerfluffle there lets that one Lakizla survive, and the other even grabbed a couple of extra kills before it died. So this went very well for Shambler.
Starpad's nearly complete, but it's going to be a while before an Anseal's up. And I think
has arrived.
At that point, even with the Harakans to try to, deal with that Lakizalisk, I don't think the Shambler is going to be going for this exact move again, and he's now a little bit more even in workers when versus Zerg. You really don't want to be in that position as Terran. So it's really hard to say when the dust settles who's ahead right now, but I would look at Mystery Meat's bank and say he at least has the opportunity to go straight into, an Atlas. He's wisely avoiding building an Anseal because he knows that it's probably unlikely for Shambler to try that same move again. That being said, there are 3 Lakizalisks in the main. He's still sticking with the Zorka's army despite having a Hydrock.
I would always expect there to be Lakizalisks at least on defense, especially when they've already handily deflected him once. It's probably pretty safe to assume that Shambler will have a couple of them in his mineral lines. In the very possible event there's some kind of drop or anything else you might actually attempt. But it is very possible, more than likely, yeah, there's the Atlas. He was probably just banking his gas for the Atlas instead. Not really worth getting the Ansel at this exact moment in time since the attack had just been deflected. That said, there's a number of Gorgakors coming, and they could easily swoop in here, kill the Mason working on the Atlas, and possibly cause some serious economic damage, although one of them is a little injured. The Wraith is scouting everything that Shambler has, and we'll see that third base coming up with that Maverick that just died heroically, and there's a bunch of Hydras coming.
This Wraith attack has hit just at the same time as the Gorgakors wandered into a Watchdog, so a little bit awkward timing there. Hydralisks are out to fend off the Wraith. It only gets 1 kill, which is probably more than it was expecting to get, in all fairness. And yeah, they didn't even get a chance to cancel the Atlas or halt its construction. That's 2 Gorgakors now going down as soon as they pop into that anchor there, and one of them dangerously close from falling as well. So obviously that interaction in particular will be very new on the release version, because when you think about it in the context of Gorgakors having 2 armor, they don't get pierced by Cyprians anymore.
They'll be a lot more useful against Terran in general. Now at least Shambler knows that Tier 2 is on the way and kind of what to expect. So it gives him some information to prepare for. However, he is not in a position to go for Tier 2 immediately himself. It won't surprise me if he tries to go for some kind of timing push instead. Although at the moment, he is banking a little bit.
I'm thinking it's going to be captaincies. This might be the first time we actually see those. He's got a lot of minerals for it, and, it only costs 50 gas, so it's not the end of the world to invest into that. But he's pulled all his workers and getting ready to drop them down. We'll see what his choice is going to be in just a moment. Could also be fulcrums. It's instead going to be captaincies after all.
It is captaincies.
Quarry being built on the bottom right base, more workers being rallied around.
That's
so
5 captaincies. It's just going to spam madcaps. I think he might even be expecting this Hydra push. Because madcaps would be good for this.
Yeah, they can absolutely compete. If his stockades end up transitioning into, you can see him sort of sending them off for scouts while he keeps one at home to add on the Vestry for healing. Not a bad move whatsoever, and it's even going to spot the Hydras, which are on attack move. They don't actually start to do anything about that just yet, but, there's a decent amount of anchors throughout the, general vicinity. And even though there's no Lakizalisks with this army, the Zorisleths will still help to buffer it. And you know what? I really like this treasury plop down. If it succeeds, fine, but it's also blocking the Zorisleths from actually engaging, and the Hydras are charging on forward.
Yeah, there's no madcaps or anything up yet, so this can absolutely deal a lot of damage.
One of the anchors has already fallen on the bottom. That's a second one popping as well, and the Sentinel I don't think is even going to get it finished. Lots of really Rokor spawning from all the damage that the Zorisleths are taking, and yeah, this is a real good timing there. Treasury doesn't even get canceled, and some units are being pulled from the bottom right.
Mr. Meat is going to take so much damage from this. It's going to take him a little while to amass enough to deal with this. He does have an Anseal and some Madcaps sitting at the top here, but now there's a lot of Brood spawn. There's Cyprians inside of that anchor, so the Madcaps, once the shield goes down, are going to take some damage. He is repairing.
He's trying his hardest here. Yeah, I think
he's
it will
gonna
hold
it.
just fine and force the Zorius back. Give him a little bit of extra brood spawn for his troubles, meanwhile. Some of the Madcaps even being rallied over. But that was a great economic blow dealt. Killing both of the treasury that was in production and the one that was actually finished. Pretty big deals there. And Mystery Meat's...
A little bit of a kerfluffle going on here, almost losing some of his Madcaps.
Yeah, that's actually beckoning the Shambler back in.
Yeah,
couple
he
more
wants to
macros
deny
like
this as long as he can. It's what's going to keep him in the game as he ends up taking a 4th base.
Yeah, see, he's just
Meanwhile, one of those barracks landed in Shambler's base and is currently making some Achmeds.
I told you this would happen. As long as he walks straight past the circuit, he can instantaneously...
Even in the top left as well, but he found that one.
Yeah. He can actually kill the Circuit with a couple of Harakans if he gets enough. I don't think that'll be enough to get him back into the game fully, but it's enough to at least even the odds a little bit. And he is going to go for some Clerics to help keep his Madcaps healthy, and there are Apostles being trained. So the first opportunity for us to see some Reclamation. Definitely one of those moments where you have to wonder where the Shambler's head is at. Does he have that internal timer of, okay, there are Madcaps, probably means they're going to be Apostles. Does he want to go for more pressure in one angle or the other? A Lechizalisks could be very useful in this context, but instead he's got Iziricors as his mineral dump, and the Wraith once again scouting around his whole base. But it will be the bottom right here targeted. This is a very big moment for the Zorius to start to try and sick on to those Sentinels. Watchdog's picking off the Avaleth errantly, but not going to be too significant because there isn't really anything here to detect per se. Now the Madcaps are going to move across. There is also a sync up with the Iziricors occupying the anchors in the bottom, in the top part rather. And this base is also probably going to get cleaned up. There's loads of Hydras. They're kind of getting cliff advantage onto these units over here. And the Apostles, they're going to get focused down. You can tell that they're much more impactful now that they have those bigger models. Meanwhile, the Treasury is going to get focused, and I think the Apostles will be able to start activating their auras, but no, instead Shambler's actually going to be picking them off. That's very expensive to lose 2 Apostles now in that engagement, and there's just so many Zerg, and you can't even revive them and turn them against yourself. So very awkward positions here as the Treasury once again trying to be built over here so that you can start harvesting from this natural, but Shambler's not going to let you breathe. And the Harakans are loose, charging on forward to deal with the Circus, but they weren't expecting the Lechizalisk, and neither was I, because of the burrow timing there, or the exact placement of it. In fact, at this point, he has to pull the Harakans away, but there are Hydras spawning. As soon as the Shambler notices that, he can deal with that very easily. Anchors are even being deployed on the front lines here, but it looks like it should still be enough. He realizes that Madcaps can go straight into that anchor, but he's not able to repair the one on the top, and oh man, it's really tough, but he should be able to hold here.
The wall of men versus the wall of big men barely holds the line, the slapping of the leather club. Shambler assembles even more large men. He is tier 2. I see there was a little kerfuffle. I did have to run AFK. There are still Achmeds in his main, by the way.
Yes, he charged in and killed the Circuit, but there was a Lechizalisk cheekily burrowed above the gas harvesters in the geyser harvesters there.
Oh yeah, I see him, yeah. See, that's what I was saying, is you just kind of have to expect that there's at least going to be one inside the mineral line or something, because I mean they're just very nice just to have around just for that reason. The Hydrock Den is being upgraded. The Crooked Dongs will be on the way. Oh, does scout the tier 2. Almost dies for the effort, but does not.
I think he might have seen it just with the Harakans themselves. A scary point to be at when you're facing Zerg, especially when they have this middle base here with the double geyser.
Yeah, when you're 2 bases down and only got the 2 bases. Mystery does have a lot of gas. He's a very gassy boy.
He did lose a bunch of his Apostles without being able to use them whatsoever, so that was a crippling blow, I think, for him in this particular matchup.
At least he has an Anciel with 2 health. That's a large Zerg army coming, though. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to hold this.
It depends on how long it takes for the Shambler to pull the trigger, but with the anchors being erected here, 2 more landing. Now he's going to hit too fast. There's not really going to be enough over here, I don't think. What's the reaction? He's actually moving one anchor further back, maybe thinking there's going to be a drop, and despite some of the ramp shenanigans, this is going to close the gap.
Shambler's just going to sweep in here with so many Hydras. Many of those anchors don't even have anything in them.
They just completed,
I think Mystery's days are up.
The GG is called.
There it is.
As the 2 HP Ansel finally falls, the Shambler will take first blood in our grand final series. Mystery Meat will select the next map.
That game was cheesy.
Absolutely.
It was something cheesy that turned into something standard, and then the timing pushes all went in Shambler's favor after that point.
Just going to wait for Mystery Meat to select the remaining maps. If we do go to Equilibrium in this series, it will be the old version. Actually, same for all of them. We're still using the Ascension 1 map pool. We will be playing on Repulsion for map number 2. Do a quick ready check. Absolutely owned. All right. Okay. Let's get it rolling here. This will be a TVZ on Repulsion for map number 2. There was some cheeky talk of whether or not Mystery was going to be random earlier, and I think maybe I missed the context for it, but obviously we can't have you changing your race in between the match. Come on now. Golden Brown Mystery Meat versus Silver, the Shambler. Silver Shambler. That's what we're going to call him when he's, 80 years old and kind of gray. See what he wants to do. Obviously the last matchup, as Mesk said earlier, very cheesy, but also very interesting in how it transitioned out and the moves back and forth. Maybe if the Apostles could have turned the tide of the fight in the bottom right, that would have given him a chance, but we're not on Boskevine anymore, and Mystery Meat, very interested in going ahead and scouting in the top right. Meanwhile, the Shambler, back to his usual tricks of grabbing gas from the geyser. 2 workers on that. Will he go for something more conventional this time with a Hydrock opener? Or is he going to be more interested in dropping the Zorkis once again? He does have more gas than he needs for the Hydrock, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything, particularly since he's just gone ahead. Wait, no, he's canceled his... It's going to be a Zorkis opener. He's canceled that worker that he was in the middle of building, so... Workers will meet each other. Meanwhile, a stockade after the quarry. Quarries are 25 gas still in this update, so... A little bit more common to see them spammed out. Seeing the Zorkis Shroud on a map like this kind of indicates that it's going to be Gorger Cores, because the Ovaleth takes a long time to get over there, but maybe that could make you feel like it's more viable and not less. Mr. Meat was one of the first players to really start to use the workers to their most annoying degrees, where you can actually harass with their worker and tickle your opponent and steal their resources and all this other stuff. So... in fact, if the Shambler's not careful here, which I think he certainly should be, he'll be able to, fall away before anything bad happens. It's, yeah, his first larva after his Zorkis Shroud pops up is most likely going to be a Gorger Core, judging by his resources here. I could be wrong, of course. Maverick, stimmed. Going to be a Lakizalisk again. Will it be a drop? Will it be a transition out? Just, diffusing any early pressure. Obviously, Lakizalisk's very good against... seeing where the anchors are, if you happen to have them. And another thing that Mystery Meat's really good at, and we've seen it so far, if you let him have workers lurking around, he can turn those workers into anchors. So, he will start to do stuff like that, and for a second I thought that was exactly what was going to happen, as a matter of fact. But instead there's going to be one back at home. He does have a Maverick sort of chasing this Drolith all the way around. Why not? And there's an anchor. So you can already tell, this is sort of the strategy here. And the Shambler could get caught off guard if he's not careful. But he does have a Zoriuslith out in the egg, anyway. That's going to give him a little bit of something to defend against a potential Cyprian-fueled bunker. Anchor, that is. It's going to take a long time. It's going to be instead stimmed Mavericks, which still have 45 HP. So it will be a Maverick-fueled anchor here, as soon as that other one comes in. A Kagran colony is on the way, but if it's going to be a Spraith, I'm not sure how effective it would exactly be at zoning away this kind of anchor play. And it will indeed be a Spraith. So at the very least, it can put some damage on it and maybe be an early auditory system or if you're just sort of passively checking out your base and then suddenly it starts playing audio. But with the Mason repairing it, and with no other units over here, he's going to have to unbar the Lekizalisk very, very quickly. It's now within vision. He does not immediately respond to that. He's actually moved his Zorislav out and now sees, oh, I'm being tickled by a Maverick. But his Patros did just finish, so this won't really be too difficult to deal with. With the Zorislav out, it can just easily start tickling the Mason, which only has 20 HP, crucially enough. And in fact, can kind of do what DF was doing in Group A with, you know, just getting some Rilisks for the sake of, yeah, adding a little bit more DPS. So that is going to force the lift. And plenty of workers can continue to harvest. Meanwhile, back at home, a treasury on the ramp, just to make sure that it doesn't get sniped in the middle of it. And he's just now realizing that the Zorislav generates it based on taking damage. Absolutely slow. That is the Vilgaleth, which is created a different way. And we have not yet seen it. But if we do, I'll be sure to point it out to you. Very low saturation so far from the main. He has not fully resaturated yet, but he's now doing that. Finding his own way to narrate himself some sort of victory story. He is up 1-0 so far, and I honestly expected Mystery Meat to be the stronger of the two players, but the Shambler played a lot of practice games, so that's kind of interesting. This is also an interesting spot for the anchor to be in. It's not really over here to the bottom right. This is probably the more common pathway out of the base, but for some reason he wants to be in the middle, maybe suspecting an air flyer. In fact, it's narrowly going to see that Gorger Core. Just for a split second, he's going to see the Gorger Core. So I'm not sure if he noticed it on the minimap or not. He does have, you know, plenty of stuff here to defend against it, a Watchdog, Cyprians, and plenty of stuff like that. So shouldn't be any problems.
Plenty of Canada is more like it.
Plenty of Canada, as Mesk sounds off once again. A Circuit in the back, that's going to stop any would-be anchor landings, besides maybe at the very bottom part, but obviously can attack it as well. And a Hydrock Den to transition out here for Shambler.
Stone Gorgor doesn't look like it's going to accomplish too much. It's actually going to be Goliaths this time as opposed to Cyprians at all.
Well, you see the Vestry here, so it's setting up for the Goliath Cleric push that Mystery Meat has shown versus Protoss before against Biddy B. Can be quite deadly. Obviously, Lekizalisks can help deal with the Clerics.
Yeah, Zerg has a few more options to deal with this. Absolutely. But the Zerg also likes to try to dictate where they're going to fight, too. So we'll see if he can make the Lekizalisks work for him in this regard, because Goliaths are tanky enough just to walk on top of them, generally speaking, unless you have a lot of them. So you need some way to block them from doing that, while also making sure they stay in the same spot that you can hit them. I have a feeling you might see more of a defensive game from Shambler for a little while here.
He did get sassed by feet.
Did land left side.
Yeah.
That Mason dies a despicable death. So tragic.
It's very tragic.
I think this will be a little bit slower of a game. It looks like neither player is particularly looking to push out at the moment.
Yeah, something I'm noticing so far is that it looks like Mystery Meat is going to be a little bit up-tempo on expansions, particularly if Shambler wants to take this upper middle one instead of the one below his main. So that's going to contribute to stuff. And there are some Hydras to mix in with the Zorius and the Lekizalisk. So at the same time, though, the Goliaths are also in a pretty good power stance here, and more of them are on the way. Starpad as well. So I'm favoring Mystery Meat in terms of the tools that he's got at his disposal, but it also does depend on how the engagements are taken.
Yeah, Mystery is pretty dug in here. He's got a lot of clerics. I think he's doing pretty well for himself. The two Lekizalisks has to work quite hard to succeed in this matchup. And Shambler is already looking to switch to Hydras. Shambler is banking gas and might be thinking, oh, the feet are about to step on him. Absolutely spanked.
Yeah, he did get sassed indeed.
So Shambler is sending everything he's got over to the right side here.
It's going to be
revealed. He's
revealed,
going to catch
yeah.
a Mason, and he's almost surely going to know about that third. He's going to actually check this one first just to be sure.
Yeah, it's because you see a worker moving over, you think maybe it's transferring, but it was only one. That's going to give
the time to move in here.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there's plenty of single target
Medics
damage to
get
deal
up
with.
all up in his shit.
Yeah. Lakizalisk's trying to move forward. They haven't been targeted down, so they will be able to burrow. That will force Mystery back a little bit, but it's really not that much at this point, and an Anseal is already out to detect, so realistically speaking, this attack is almost surely completed with that, without really doing too much damage at all.
Shambler hoping to pick off that Anseal, but they are deceptively tanky, and he is forced to flee. Scurrying away. There are various watchdogs inside of Mystery's main, and including some feet. He does not want another obvious surprise inside of his back door.
Yeah, I think he's pretty well protected against anything like that. Even a bunch of Gorgorkors would struggle to deal with what's in that bunker, so that anchor. There's a lot of Hydras, as you mentioned. Some Zorius as well.
He was able to finally defeat the feet and take that third, so he is a little behind at the moment economically. And Mystery has substantially more workers.
Yes, also more gas in the bank, so we should see Tier 2 here pretty soon. However, Mystery can decide instead just to make a death push. There's Hydras versus Goliaths. It's a little bit easier for the Hydras to focus fire because they can clump up more, but the main thing that you're seeing here is that the Wraith is acting as a great scout for Mystery. He's keeping on top of that, and there is no detection from the Shambler to try to shut that down. Double Anseal as well, so plenty of, burst protection, you could say.
Shambler has the two Lakizzlisks, but they won't be in position to deal with this if they fight out in the front. And that is a lot of Goliaths. Not as many Clerics, but a lot of Goliaths. There's a lot of beef in this group.
Yeah, and he's desyncing part of the group there by pulling some of the Hydras forward, so that's going to force a different kind of engagement. But more Hydras are being created, and the Anseals kind of charge forward a little bit too early there. So they are going to start to be, brought down as far as their shields go. And now the Clerics are being sniped as well, so there's no real form of sustain if Shambler keeps it up. However, at some point you don't have enough damage to actually finish the job, and the Goliaths can reign supreme. He's going to have to concede this top left base if he's not careful, and he's not interested in pulling the Lakizzlisks.
Nope. This third's going to go down for sure. There's nothing Shambler can do about that at the moment. He's just going to have to let it go.
Yeah.
He was making a million Lakizzlisks, but all those eggs are going to die.
Yeah, that's... even if they do spawn, like the one to the right, is already wounded.
Oh, they are going to spawn. He's going to lose all the money.
Oh, goodness.
Rest in penises.
You don't get the money back if the egg dies. You have to cancel it, so pretty big loss
the units
there.
actually popped out of it, so it's even worse.
Yeah, I did see two of them do that, but even the third one wasn't returned. So, yeah, Lakizzlisks
Shambler's going
be...
full-on turtle now. He's getting as many Lakizzlisks as his money can offer, and they may be detected, but at least he'll have thousands of them.
He does have a pretty good ring here. It's just a question of, does that realistically speaking matter?
Wraith spotted a lot of those, and is dead.
It's just Lakizzlisk after Lakizzlisk at this point. I don't think that Shambler feels like he has the ability to really fight back here. He is going to go ahead and burrow his
rush
Lakizzlisks.
is all in.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be enough. It will force Mystery Me back a little bit. Maybe caught off guard by the bravado on display by Shambler's unit movement, but we can see
Those
the macro
Birdlings are
picture.
decolliding the Goliaths, and they were getting tickled around.
Some good volleys from the spines. It's just a question of whether or not the Anseals will ever get sniped. One of them is still alive.
The Goliaths are stuck in this corner, and if
Yes.
Shambler can position himself well, he can kill them.
It's a little bit hard, though. The Lakizzlisks are starting to get focused down, and there's no more Hydras to try to zone those Anseals.
They're trapped here. Trapped in what is known in some circles as gay baby jail. But Shambler decides to set them free. They're free-range Goliaths now. Meanwhile, Mystery has taken a fourth base.
And Atlas nearly completed as well. A fifth fulcrum, a fourth fulcrum, because that's how you get to 5, and a sixth one
That's
afterwards.
many fulcrums, yes. Yeah. And that's 2 times 3 for those of you who wish to know.
There are 4 bases up for
there
Mist,
are so many Lakizzlis. He just wants to attack. If something dirty is going on inside Mystery's base, it's not too much of a mystery to him, and he's sending everything he has over there. But Mystery has a very large number of Goliaths. Some Hydras are going to chase that Mason off into the east side. Oh, no.
They've been pulled back. The Lychyzalisks still aren't burrowing. They're going to try to charge on forward, but it's a little awkward here. The Ancials are able to detect, and no deaths just yet. The Cleric's finally starting to get pulled apart. A couple Goliaths being focused down. Generally good map control here, kind of splitting these bases, but he needs to start actually dealing worker damage to get back into the game. Charging forward with the Hydras after burrowing the Lychyzalisks is a big move, but I don't know that it's going to be enough. And
he got the raid. That was important.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too slow there, I think. And the Lychyzalisks now, at this point, when you lose your army like that, and your opponent has so many bases, some of which you just found in the mid-left there.
So much money.
Yeah, there's really not a whole lot that can be done there.
He went tier 2, but it's like he doesn't even need it. Just keep making Goliaths.
Yep. I think he senses that.
Yeah, that's precisely. There's so many workers chasing that one Hydra.
They're just here to
Mystery
scout.
going for the top right now.
That's left.
That is not free, no sir. But man, does he have a lot of Goliaths. Shows no sign of slowing down. Maybe he'll just jump straight to tier 3. Hell, why not?
He's got a bunch of Gorger cores now, the Shambler, but I don't think that's going to be deliverance from the Goliath menace at this point. More Watchdogs being deployed as well, or no, those are Sentinels actually. So,
he's hoping to backdoor some of these bases that have been creeping up over time. One of these Watchdogs is on fire, so I think that something scouted it during that fight, and that's how he knows it's up. Meanwhile, a lot of minerals going into Sentinels that may or may not die to Gorger cores, depending on what happens here. So many Goliaths. Okay, now he's making Paladins. He decided, okay, I'll make something other than Goliaths, I guess.
Well, the Gorger cores are here, but they had loads of time to prepare for this, so he's going to start to maybe pick off that Watchdog just so that he can go back to harvesting the worker corpses in peace. Oh, they're kind of splitting up and disobeying him. How could they? Now he's going to stick on to that.
The turrets are all over the damn place, and they're all causing him headaches, which is costing him time. Meanwhile, there are Cyprians in that bunker, and we all know what happens when Cyprians get a hold of Gorg cars. Oh, there's an Atlas here. I didn't know we had an Atlas. All I've been seeing is Goliaths.
Yeah.
And now they all die a miserable death. Except for one. Oh, never mind.
They got
never mind what I just said. I lied.
Yeah, at this point, there's just so few units for the Shambler. 17 military units.
Shambler has invested so heavily into Lychyzalisks, and he really needs to get tier 2. And now he's so far behind that even if he did have tier 2, I'm not sure it would make a difference when your opponent's sitting on 79 Goliaths. There's a lot of Goliaths. The worker count is also quite...
Yeah, 50 worker deficit now as Zerg. You're pretty much never going to come back from this. But you know what? He's making sure... He's maybe feeling out Mystery Me what he wants to do in this situation, right? Could close the game a lot sooner, but he doesn't know that and isn't really probing too heavily to find out, worried about overstepping. This is a case where you can see, like, he was starting off so well with the Wraith Scout, and he's not doing that anymore, even though it's never been detected. So that's a case where, you know, he could definitely get some advantage.
This expansion.
Yeah.
He really doesn't want anything to do with those vultures. They're just fucking gone.
See ya. Eviscerated faster than you can say, Valkyrie.
They did get one worker amidst all that. A little consolidation for being thoroughly annihilated the second he stepped foot in his French porch.
French porch?
French porch. Sorry, there's Ricky Honajase and now there's Landier. There's 2 Frenchmen in my life. He's getting some big men. He's just got minerals. He's got some gas. I'm pretty sure Shambler's going to try to hit tier 2 here and just hold out, but Mystery is amassing up for the big push here with his wounded Wraith and million Goliaths and like a handful of token tanks just for fun.
Hey, the phalanxes
Shambler is actually
good,
going down here to the he's trying to flank, maybe like just take pressure, the inevitable pressure coming up of it. He's gonna run to the secret sentinels, literally out. Never mind, he ignores them. Their existence is not validated. Senpai never noticed them. He's gonna walk face first into like 18 lobsters.
Oh goodness.
Oh, it's a disaster. This
and they're slowed. They can't
force
even leave.
Has been annihilated by lobsters. Oh no, the lobsters.
That's the go sign.
I think Shambler's going to GG really soon right here.
That's the go sign. Yep. Goliaths are on the way. Ancials,
oh no, the Ancials.
They don't need that.
It's okay. They're indestructible. Now there's some big men here, but Goliaths are humanoid shaped and also constitute as big men. If Shambler's going to pull out of this, it's going to be by having a perfect surround with Lachizalisks. Meanwhile, there's a single Wraith annihilating his worker lines.
Just add insult to injury, why don't you? The Goliaths are going to go ahead and accept these Lachizalisks, but there is detection. Phalanx is within range, but it's going to start retaliating, and it's not even going to fall here.
So many Goliaths.
Yeah.
His big men can't get it in there. He's trying to take out these tanks to at least force the Goliaths to come to him. And while he did get one fairly low, it did not die.
The Wraith
that
is still
single
killing
Wraith is on a rampage. Someone make it stop. The big men can destroy the Wraith.
They can.
But they're intimidated by it.
There's just so many Goliaths. There's even Watchdogs and Sentinels being erected. Another move with Gorger Cores coming out. Lachizalisks trying to burrow desperately within close range.
Just go in, all in. Oh, he got the Phalanx.
And there it goes. The last combat unit that Shambler had immediately available. Well, there's more Gorger Cores over there, but Psy. Typing.
Kill the Wraith at least, for God's sake. It's killed like 30 workers.
No, he said Psy. He doesn't want a GG. That's not GG.
He
That's
doesn't want
just
a
Psy.
GG. Listen, he's still got Droless. They might be able to fight those vultures. Oh. Gorger Chorus killed one Goliath. Absolutely destroyed. This Wraith finally is going to kill itself.
Perfect.
The day is won.
You know, this is a game where if we desynced and I was in this position and he was on the receiving end like he is, he'd say, I don't know, I think I could have won that. So, that's why he hasn't.
The Gorger Core is making effort, but man, are they fat. The Droliths charge forward. One heroic last and the Alamo decolliding and spinning.
Oh.
I thought it was Manor.
Sure. Oh, goodness. Would you look
Back
at
in
that?
Warcraft 3, you can pause the game and then just leave.
Dude, look
and
how
it would
many...
say pause, right?
Yeah.
But then they had to change that because people kept doing that. So they made it so it automatically unpaused when you left. Also, you could save the game too. You could pause, save the game, and it, for some maps, because they were so bloated, it would take like minutes to save. I would much rather prefer if he said, I was establishing dominance by pausing. That's more impactful to me.
Well, hey, check this out. 69 units lost by the mystery.
Oh, 69. That's a good number.
Okay, well, let me update the score here because, of course, Mystery Meat is on the board. And that looked a lot more like he was in control. Technically, there was a little bit of cheese and cheek with the late anchor, but, you know, for the most part, it didn't even do that much damage. And as a result...
Goliath Cleric is very, very hard to deal with, it looks like. It's really quite fat. You need some way to stop them from kiting you, which means you probably needed, like, Vorvicors, but... I don't know, Quasrak doesn't seem like it'd be really that useful overall, so why would you go all the way into this tech path just for Vorvicors? So in that case, I'm not really sure what Shambler would have done in that case, other than just not letting his expansions die miserably. Maybe being a little less aggressive.
Here we go, boys. It's Ascension time. Game 3 in our grand finals.
3.
Infinite Velocity was selected.
That is infinite. There is velocity. And they're even Nidus Canals.
I don't know if these two gentlemen will be too interested in playing another series of games after this, considering it's going to be very late, but maybe we can schedule another day if that ends up being a problem. Otherwise, we'll see what happens. We'll see what they say. This is getting...
I mean, they can both have catharsis by just beating the shit out of me. I won't take a round off of either of them, I don't think.
Well, you know, they clearly can be destabilized if you cheese them, if you tilt them. So I think it's possible, but we'll see.
Yeah, but I think my mechanics aren't at the point I can destabilize them anymore. There's been pretty solid play from both of them at this point.
Yes.
So, on to game 3. That is 3.
That is 3.
Absolutely, it is 3. This is map most well known for cheese. Our mineral counts are off on this game. Unknown.
Yeah, it's just like the
reasons
last
why.
Infinite Velocity match, right?
The no money map. It's going to be a low economy map. Not fastest map ever, more like BGH.
Hey, Shambler stole my color. He's yellow
He did
Zerg
steal your color.
versus mint.
Listen, he's going to
Mystery.
spam Goliaths anyways just to prove Shambler wrong.
I hope so.
I hope so, too. So, let's see here. Early gas from Shambler. Of course, we're going to go Zorkas again.
Well, listen,
you know,
this is
Zorkos do work on this map.
Yes, and this is also his pick, right? He lost the previous match. He gets to pick the next map. That's how we work. So we only have one map remaining if we go all 5 games. And you know what? Both players taking at least one game from each other. I think that's pretty good. You know, you hate to have a stompy grand finals, but it is possible.
Yeah, it shows that there is some dynamic to this matchup.
Yeah. And so, honestly, that match on Boskevine I thought was really nice to see because you see both players doing kind of non-standard things, but you also see them doing, you know, like able to recover from that and the game allowing them to play a little bit more standard for the remaining time of the match. So the workers will scout each other. Stockade being put up in front of the future station.
It is the future stockade. He is investing into his stocks. That's all there is to it.
The stocks are rising. I mean, it's not Benno, so I don't think they'll rise that much. But
I don't know. Maybe some people might take inspiration. I mean, he managed to win several games off the back of predominantly exceptionally large numbers of Mavericks. There has to be something he was doing right.
now, crucially here, what's different is that the... oh, he's got to respond to the Mason attacking the Sacherosk. He's pulled his worker away from attacking.
Oh no, he stole the gas, a bloody
What an ass.
scoundrel. So Likizlisk not a Gorgakor.
Problem is, even if it does end up getting through here, I mean, he's going to see the positioning of the stockade. The burn down is about to happen, and indeed, the Likizlisk... It was technically envisioned, but I don't think Mystery Me was looking at the time, so...
So the future station is about to be the past station as it was annihilated. Shambler definitely looking for some cheese here, very inspired. Gonna just send it on through. That Mason did not spot it. It runs up into the stockade. It's gonna massacre this Maverick if he's not careful. Boxer's Immortal Mavericks hard at work.
It doesn't kill the Maverick, so the anchor is able to be finished, but at the same time, it's not mattering too much. Just a little bit of sass here. In fact, lifting the stockade means that he can easily...
The Zorius is actually killing the Nidus, too. So that's all Shambler wants to send through there, it looks like.
Interesting. He's also going to be taking the back base, which is a little bit easier to defend, and just
trying
to
be
harass.
The cheesiest part here.
Just trying to
There's
harass.
not really a lot of points in this, though. Like, the buildings can be repaired, they can lift off. If he wants to do damage, he has to go into the worker line, but it seems like he doesn't want to commit. He pulls it out and tries to destroy the Nidus as fast as possible. That was an interesting exchange. I figured he would have used the Likizlisk to try to deal some economic damage, but maybe he figured he couldn't deal enough damage with just one. It wasn't really worth losing it. And he would rather just destroy that. But I don't know, they're going back to his front, so...
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, until the rescout happens on the Nidus, Mystery won't know that it's empty, and he might consider it a threat until he actually confirms it.
He's going to go have a look,
yeah. It's a good move for him to check this out. It means that he doesn't need to worry about that anymore. He's instantly going to go ahead and lift the anchor off and head on over to his main ramp, which will be more than enough time for him to greet the forthcoming Zorius-Likizlisk combo.
Yeah, and little band of brothers heading off there. They say hello to the Mason. Be polite and wave. Off he goes. Hydrock Den immediately not investing too heavily into Likizlisk this time around. I think he might have been expecting to see Cyprians in larger quantities or something like that. I mean, there are Cyprians on the way, so I think it's still going to serve him well, but...
Yeah, just a single stockade so far for Mist. He's going to go a little bit more economically and expand first. Well, the Zorius is possible to absorb some of those shots. He's just going to go throw some really Rokors at him. And yeah, the Likizlisk does manage to make it into the
He
back
chooses
line.
now to go into the mineral line as opposed to before, so it's kind of interesting.
Look at that. Trying to block it with the Zorius, it's not going to be enough. Only gets a single kill on a Cyprian, and I don't think he killed a single Mason.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. I feel like if he wanted to dive the worker lane with the Kislis, he should have done it before when there was less military units up. There's a greater chance to disrupt the worker time and get in more kills. Going in at that time after having already destroyed the Nidus, losing the initiative, and your enemy has already fortified a number of units, just to have a second unit that isn't really high damage to begin with, it just, I don't know, didn't really seem well thought out to me.
Well, what is well thought out is the saucer meta. 2 anchors full of Cyprians are now on their way to the top right.
Yeah, they have been shift queued over to that expansion. Yeah, the Zerg's going to probably take that expansion first, just like I am. May as well fly over.
Yeah, there's going to be a Spraith to cover for air, but and some Skithricors as well could certainly, depending on where those anchors get caught. If they get caught in translation where they can't actually land anywhere because there's no build space, Skithricors could pick them off eventually, or at least put enough damage on them because there's no repairs available. And look at that, he's actually going to go ahead and send them across. I don't know if they'll be able to see much because they aren't really hugging the top end of the map. Yeah, they will actually be on a collision course with that top left area, so at this point, I don't know if they'll be in attack range, but he should see the stuff on the mini-map there.
Yep.
Oh. No, he doesn't. he's not paying any attention whatsoever. And well,
okay.
I guess what do we do here? What's going to happen?
Mystery has to pause and think. Did I get spotted or not?
You're right. Yeah. Do you want to go?
No.
He's picked it
the
back
mission
up.
proceeds.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's already got 1 watchdog, soon followed by another in this expansion.
Oh, it doesn't even get
Not
one.
much. Oh, not much is accomplished. The feet are still en route. This might be a Shambler is typing moment very soon.
I think it might happen. I mean, he should scout and see that, hey, there's no anchors. There's only 1 anchor.
There is
were
a
2
handful of
before.
Mavericks out in the front, you know. Benno is watching on and smiling in spirit he endures.
Well, there is a Lakizalisk. It can certainly help versus either one of the fronts of the assault. That's undoubtedly going to happen soon. And the Skithricors are being recalled, but they still don't see the feet. Now they're even moving outward. A Wraith on the way to
he wants to check the other expansion spot now and see if there's anything going on there. He hasn't seen too much, so he has no idea, but it's already too late. The feet
He
have
still
been
isn't
deployed.
responding. Oh, no.
Oh my god. Oh no, one of the feet's flying right into the Spraith colony, though.
It is.
Can't land in there.
Yeah,
so,
it can land right
they
there.
can land there.
Meanwhile, some units have hugged to the top and avoided the Lakizalisk so
Oh,
far.
they're gonna sneak in there. Oh.
He's just shouting around like, oh, where are the enemies at?
Now, there is a circuit there. He's gonna also have to navigate around that. If he wants to go, man, he's just gonna kill this.
I think it's basically a ticking clock, right? Both of your bases are under, attack. The Lakizalisk will move across.
Oh no, Mystery wasn't paying attention to the bottom and lost some of his hard-earned Bennos. But the top base is being destroyed, and Shambler has nothing to respond to it at this moment.
Yeah, he can absorb it with Zorius, but he doesn't want to do that. He's moving them to the bottom instead.
I mean, he stands to lose both bases there because he has nothing to kill that Wraith at the moment.
He does have some hiders on the way. He's just going to commit those instead and leave the back base, which really is quite unfortunate.
He was fishing around for skits in that area, but didn't find anything. Oh, so all the Fulcrums. It's going to be Goliaths. Mark my words. He's going to do it.
Of course,
I mean,
he really only kept 2 stockades, right? You can transition 1 or both of those into vestries, and, well, the Harakans for the other one, sure. Ancials as well.
He saved one of his expansions. He's moving down to try to deal with these feet.
Yeah, the Zoriuses are doing pretty well here just to deal with that, and the Skiths can yeah.
Just go into the corner to waste as much of his time as possible. Oh no, the Wraith!
Oh, the Wraith
and
has
down
been
it goes.
slapped.
Absolutely destroyed. He was hoping he could continue to tickle that. Meanwhile, the feet are burning down.
You know what's so bad about that? When they burn down, the Cyprians will unload on that cliff, and they will attack.
Do they live?
Yeah. I think so. I can't remember how we...
I guess we will soon see, because that's what's going to happen. It is indeed Goliaths that are on the way. Shambler's greatest fears will have been realized.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Oh.
He's trying to unload them before it burns down. Oh, no, the Hydra! Oh, they came out!
How much sass can one man deal with?
All of his shit again. Alright, so
Will
Shambler has had enough of this shit.
Nope, that one's gonna stay alive.
He's sending over everything he's got. Everything he's got.
Look at the anchors.
And he's gonna just run face first and do 1,000 Goliaths again. And there's so many anchors up there. The Goliaths hardly even matter. I think the Goliaths are more just there for the psychological effect.
Top right's about to make him typing.
Oh, they won't be able to kill it though.
Should have blocked the exact spot, obviously, but it didn't.
Yeah. I mean, I think Mystery probably expected those units to have died a long time ago.
Well, that's just one more thing he can do better next time. Not that he necessarily needs it. As the
has
anchors have
his army.
Yes.
His vast army. Oh, but this could be a bad thing for him. His anchors are now flying in the air, and Shambler's are. Oh no, Shambler's like, fuck this. There's Ahmed. I ain't messing with Ahmed. I'm out of here.
These three anchors over here don't have anything in them. They're decoy anchors for the sake of pushing back this very spooky force.
They really are. They're psychological anchors, like his bannermen.
Yeah.
Well, Shambler is decladding his own Zorith out of that corner with the really core. As they were getting tickled by the Goliaths trying to run away. The Shambler did go ahead and just take this other external base here, since all of his other bases were filled with Cyprians and Wraiths. And there's a lot of Goliaths. Not really as many clerics, but I'm sure he'll remedy that in time. An additional Wraith.
My goodness.
Trying to take this base, but it is going to get spotted by the Skith.
What a game we have on our hands here. A host of Gorgakors has been spotted flocking in the mid-right of the map. The treasury will indeed have to be canceled.
Now, it's going to be hard to use Gorgakors against this army, and it hasn't worked well in the past, so... It's going to be an upward battle as... Well, two medics are just...
They're hanging.
There was a kerfluffle moment, so I think that might have been a rally point. On the other hand, all the Skithagors died.
Yeah, they're spotting out where the Goliaths are, which is at least something to think about. But the Gorgakors are revealing themselves.
If he's not
I was thinking he could move to the top left, but meanwhile, top right, typing moment again.
The battle is joined as Shambler is distracted.
Yes,
half of his army is getting killed in the middle by Ahmed and his brave warriors.
Ahmed
died.
Don't worry, that can be rebuilt. The Wraith, once again, on a rampage. Only a couple of workers went down here. It looks like maybe 4 or 5 workers died. But it's shutting down the general...
The Wraith is killing everyone. It is a massacre. Just one Wraith. Just sitting there in hold position. Oh, there's one up top too. There's 2 of them.
Iris is down, and no Atlas, meanwhile. So, theoretically, this could be held. It's just a question of, do you have enough static defense? Do you have enough Lakizelisks?
Another Wraith! Oh, they're all tickling Shambler everywhere. Shambler had a kerfluffle, pulling away his Hydras and his drones from that extra base, losing mining time absolutely needlessly in the process. I mean, maybe he's just trying to sacrifice it anyways, but I feel like he could have gotten all the gas he needed out of it. Meanwhile, the feet up top are finally dealt with. That hatch has 6 health. But he did manage to destroy the other Wraiths. There is one surviving Wraith. If Mystery was paying attention, he could circle it around and go and snipe that Hatrosk very easily. Oh. I think he's thinking of it, but there is detection there. He wants it. He wants it so bad, he's going to go get it. He wants it.
It's not going to be enough. Oh no, typing! Oh, typed. You've been typed in the grand finals, homie.
Oh, dude. He doesn't have any Cyprians, though.
That's where you're
He's
wrong,
got Goliaths. Kiddo. Okay, he has some of them. Enkit, he wants him to encode the video.
Yes.
No, it's okay. He's coming.
Oh,
This 1,000
hey, the Gorgon Cores
Goliaths.
could do some decent AoE over here, but they kind of came in a little late. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not nearly enough. And
There is like tens of thousands of health worth of units in that stack. The big men have arrived a little late. I am now Goliath man.
I wonder if this represents a switch in how the Shambler was expecting the enemies to be taken. You know, like, just generally, what was Mist's plan before this? Like, what could he have done differently? What was he doing differently in the past, right? Like, this Goliath play, we saw him pull it out a couple times. Well, really just once in the semifinals against Biddy, but this was still quite unexpected, I think.
Well, we've seen Goliaths consistently. I know I ran into them a lot with Noblime later on when he started making them after he was like, I want to try Goliath. I started to see that a lot. And Goliath Cleric is definitely super strong because units attack slower than they used to. They do less damage than they used to. Goliaths are still very beefy. And I don't know if the Cleric healing rate was ever changed. I don't feel like it was.
No, it wasn't.
And it's a lot of effective health, especially with the Ant Seal. So, especially for its cost, you can get a lot of them. I mean, the base differences haven't been super mega. There's typing going.
There's typing going on.
It's super mega high, but it's you know, I think he was on 2 bases when he started going into Goliath, right? So he was able just to plop down a bunch and then just have 1,000 of them fairly shortly. I don't know. I'm not going to say there's a balance problem with it because I haven't seen it really enough, and I don't know enough about Zerg, but I think it's something to be mindful of, that the healing rate of clerics might need adjustment.
Yeah, that or the stats or their durability or cost or whatever. However, it's funny to see Shambler complain about you know, an older patch at this point. Anyway, so always love to see some typing. He'll wait for the elimination to kick in.
He's a good boy. I love Shambler. I might die. Oh, just about.
Absolutely bamboozled. And now Mystery Meat stands on match point. One more win and he takes the crown.
Oh, Kian is a sleepy bird in the sleepy bird bed. How quaint. So what do you think is going to happen in this last match? Do you think Shambler is going to try to have some cheese to pull himself back into the even? Or is he going to try something standard, get felted by Goliath, and then just absolutely rage? Or is he going to become incredibly calm, enter a Zen, outplay Mystery in every possible corner, 500 APM, literal J-Dong tier? Anything is possible.
I think what's going to happen is really dependent on the map. If it's Equilibrium, we'll see probably a fairly standard game. But it's not. It's Megalith Empire. And that means...
Oh, it isn't Maim Street?
No, that was banned
You know, if it comes to me, I'm putting someone on Maim Street.
Mystery Meat banned Maim Street, so...
Listen, I would never ban Maim Street,
I know.
even though I'm terrible at it.
It's just a fun time. Wait for Mystery to select Terran.
ZVZ.
Wait, hold on. I didn't ask for Shambler. Oops. Own. I thought I saw 2 messages there and thought they were saying ready, but it was actually Mystery trolling me. Absolutely good. I still can't believe the Wraith sniped the Hatcherask in that game.
Dude, Wraiths have been on a rampage in the last 2 games. The one Wraith killed so many Droliths, it had to kill itself on this Wraith colony in order for Shambler to stop it. And in this game, there was, at one point, there was like 3 Wraiths killing workers just on hold position.
Yeah, pretty good. You know what else is pretty good? Cheesing on Megalith Empire. And
yeah,
boy, do we have that
Cheese
for you.
Empire.
Yeah. This is going to be the Lakizalisk drop. I can pretty much call it right now.
Shambler is going to...
He's going to type.
typing again. Do you think he's gonna start doing the whole like triple bunker fly over this ledge thing again?
It could happen. That's what Mystery Meat likes to do sometimes. So. He did do that.
I don't know.
Bitty
Mystery to me seems to be a little bit of a joker. I think he would try to take this opportunity to tilt Shambler more.
It might happen. It might happen. Stockade first. Fairly standard.
It's possible. I know Gorgs will be a lot more. They'll actually be viable against Terran now as opposed to getting annihilated.
Well, Zorka's Shroud was not able to be blocked in that context, so now at this point, Mystery Meat's just going to start wiggling around here, see what he can do. Oh, you got the stockade? That's no good.
It's like in Britain, they got those piss deflectors. That's kind of what happened there, as this piss got deflected.
I didn't know they had piss deflector.
Yeah, apparently piss deflectors are a thing. I think it's Britain anyways. There's so many like drunk people just pissing on the side of buildings. They had to put like special surfaces on them that deflected the piss off.
I don't know what was just
about that.
The neutral anchor was being sassed by multiple workers. I was a little confused.
Yeah, it's taken some damage. It's been abused.
Well, a Lakizalisk is shortly on the way, and followed by an Ovaleth when necessary.
Yeah, I'm expecting the Ovalith.
Oh, he's one gas off.
There you go. Yeah, there it is. But I mean, I'm sure Mystery will see this coming. He already saw the Zorkas.
Yep. Maximum proxy feat.
It's this map again. This is the map I would ban because of this. This is just so stupid. Why is every game on this map turbo autistic?
It was selected by the Shambler. He wanted this. He asked for this. And he is, to his credit, he's putting together a set here.
A crossing of the tisms here. Absolute tisms have been dropped.
That's all right. Whatever. It's fine. Meanwhile,
little pause, little pause as he sees the Ovalith.
He needs to make that back Kagrin into a circuit as soon as possible.
There's a drone just sitting there.
Oh my god, no! No! Oh, Canada!
Canada.
Meanwhile, what's he gonna do?
Well, he did kill some Masons. Killed another Mason.
Oh no! How could you have lost to lag? You weren't doing anything. Oh, Canada moment. Well, we told you guys the Shambler has been known to type, and in this case, he typed. Well, he didn't type GG, but he might as well have. Because that was an attempt at cheese that was thoroughly failed and thwarted. Jeez. Absolutely got him. Well, as silly as that grand finals was, I do think the first two games were pretty solid. Particularly the first one definitely showed some of the stuff you can do in that matchup. And the back and forth nature of it, the cheese going back and forth and not breaking somebody. Definitely interesting. I think even the start of Infinite Velocity was kind of interesting, but Shambler just got... Really, he never fully adapted to the late round sort of anchor movements or just general harassment that Mystery Meat likes to do, where he likes to split you across multiple facets, right? So
this is the cheesiest I've ever seen Mystery be in this game. Absolutely dirty. What a man. Just the feet everywhere. He really just likes to play footsies.
Well, he is our first feet champion. And that does mean that Terran OP, I think. But obviously, next patch is a little bit better. So,
are you going to give him a trophy that is a foot? Do you have a 3D printer?
I do not.
Does your workspace have a 3D printer?
No.
Because you could like dip it in like lemonade or orange juice or something and mail it to him.
I'll try to keep that in mind. But right now, I think he just gets bragging rights, and Shambler gets absolutely slapped in the grand finals by trying to unburrow his Lakizalisk. And just doesn't work.
I don't think the lag had any bearing on that whatsoever. It was already over at that point.
Yeah, I think that might have had something it would have felt better maybe if he didn't lag in that moment or what have you. But what are you gonna do? Well, yeah, I agree with Fagudo in the chat. A little anticlimactic, but what are you gonna do? And there is the request to make a move here onto the next group. So what do you think?
I'm fine.
I'm
fine doing that.
Let's make it happen. Give us a few minutes here, and we'll be back for Group B of